Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Death Pile Destruction. I'm your host, Big Josh, and today we're working on some of Jim's items and some of my personal items. So I went down to the basement and I pulled a few items and I just photographed them. Now these are going to be really simple items to list because they're all new. I did have to open up that iced coffee maker just to make sure everything was new and complete. Now these are my personal items. I brought them out so that I could get them photographed. Sadly, they're all very dirty. If you guys see all that junk in there, you know, these are just really dirty. I don't mind selling things that are somewhat dirty. I'll put it in the description and usually tell people that it'll have to be cleaned and it's dirty. But these are just a little bit dirtier than I like. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this stuff in soap and water. That way I can clean it up a little bit and take photos. I realized that there's really no simple solution to killing this death pile. It's all about just grabbing a few items every day and just trying to, get them listed. If you guys are new to the channel, I buy a lot of stuff at thrift stores and garage sales, and I've developed quite a death pile. So right now, instead of thrifting every day like I like to do, I'm just kind of focusing on my death piles and trying to get caught up. The FOMO's a little bit hard because I do know I'm missing some good stuff at the Salvation Army. It does bother me a little bit because there's really no telling when a Super Nintendo and 20 box games is going to get put out for 25 bucks. So I've had to accept that I am going to miss out on some things, and it's a little bit hard for me to accept sometimes, but I'm trying my best. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff in some hot water, and I'll be back shortly. Hey, how you doing? It's Friday morning, and it's several days later. Yesterday was my weekly thrifting day, and what I try to do is find cheap things and sell them on eBay for a good profit. I'm constantly out looking for those big, beautiful nuggets, but unfortunately, sometimes I end up getting a lot of gold dust. And that's kind of what we're dealing with today. A lot of this stuff is either free or I got it really cheap at yard sales or tag sales. I've got tons and tons of stuff in the garage, but right now this is what I'm working on. What I really want to do is just get this area cleaned up for my own mental health. I want to be able to walk in here and feel good about it. So basically I'm just grabbing the bull by the horns. I've got two time-sensitive projects that I'm dealing with today. I bought this pasta express maker back at the More Than a Thrift store. I probably got it 4 or 5 months ago. I paid $15 for it, and I picked this food processor up at the local dump for free a few weeks ago. The only reason I got it was because it was free. I don't like to ship a lot of heavier and bigger items in the mail anymore. I've noticed that the USPS will do almost anything they can to not have to pay out a priority claim. Back in June, I sent out some items to a movie studio. They were glass mirror tiles, and they ended up breaking, and I actually sent these things priority overnight, and it was $95, and sadly, I got rejected on the claim. They wanted all types of unreasonable documentation. They wanted me to bring these items to them to get looked at, which was impossible because it was broken glass and it was immediately thrown away. So I just don't like to take the chance because now it seems like, if something breaks, you're totally out that money. So I find that just parting things out, as much of a hassle as it is, it lets you not have all your eggs in one basket. So I've got to look these things up. I'm pretty sure I won't be keeping any of the motors, and my dad's going to the dumpster today, and he's already got a bunch of these motors in the back of his truck. So I want to get these things out of here. I'm trying to get more room on my shelves, and the only way that I'm going to successfully do that is by getting rid of these bigger, larger, heavier items. And I'm not going to be able to get rid of them unless they're listed. So I'm going to get started with that, and I'll report back to you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so I just realized there was a little surprise. This little Pasta Express came with a bag full of attachments, and I just assumed that they were attachments for the actual pasta maker. But when I opened it up, I realized that there was a Cuisinart manual in there. And there were all of these parts and pieces. So I'm going to have a closer look at this stuff. It's probably not a bad thing that these items were in here, because it looks like I could probably sell some of this for decent money. I don't know how much, but I'm going to do my research. Alright guys, so I've been digging around on eBay. I've been trying to get some comps on some of these parts that were with that pasta machine. I went ahead and threw the motors in the back of my dad's pickup and we're going to be getting rid of that stuff later. You know what, guys? With that pasta machine, I'm never going to spend $15 on one of those again. The only real parts that I have to sell off of it are these knobs. There's these two clear parts right here, and they don't really sell for a whole lot of money. And then this thing sells for like $9.50 shipped, but it doesn't sell very often. In all honesty, it's going to be those Cuisinart parts that are going to make the money. But I definitely won't be picking up any more of those CTC machines unless I can get them really cheap. I picked one up over at Kevin's tag sale a couple of months ago, and I think I paid $3 for it. And in order to pick one up again, that's about where I'll need to be. Okay, so I did a little bit of digging around on these Cuisinart parts. This right here is the actual juice strainer. I've sold a bunch of Cuisinart food processor stuff over the years, but I've never come across these attachments, so this is a completely new thing for me. But it looks like this right here is selling for almost $18, which is good. And it looks like these three cones right here sold back on September 12th for $17. It looks like this little stem adapter right here sells for around $15 plus shipping. It looks like one of the sellers back during the summertime took these three blades right here and sold them for a best offer from $16.95 plus shipping. So that's, a positive thing. I'm going to have to definitely throw these items in some hot water. They're probably going to go in the same hot water and soap bucket as these food processor parts. That old Sears food processor was filthy. And all this stuff has like food on it and everything. So I'm going to see if I can't at least get some of this stuff off. But it looks like this part right here, which is a pusher, sells for around $11 or $12 free shipping. So that'll definitely be good. Hey, your buddy Josh has a little pro tip for you. If you guys are new to selling on eBay or you haven't been doing it for too long, this is going to be something that might really help you in the future. Alright, this is that last part that I got in that bag of accessories that came with that CTC pasta maker. And I'm going to be tossing that item in the garbage, and I want to let you know why. First, I had to dig around a little bit to find out what this thing was called. And then I found out it's called the work bowl chute. So check this out, guys. Look at all of these items that are listed, and not even for that much money. Well, there's probably got to be like 20 of them. Look at this. It just keeps on going and going. Look at this, guys. Tons and tons of these things listed. So what we want to do is go over here and hit filter, and then we want to scroll down until we find completed items and hit that. And as you guys can tell right here, out of all of those chutes that are listed, only one sold, and it was back in August. So basically what that means is there's like 30 of those things listed, but only one sold a month and a half ago. So trying to sell this thing is on par with trying to win the lottery. So whenever you're out and about and you find things like this, that there are a bunch of them listed, but maybe one sold 2 months ago, don't even bother getting it. Or if you have it, toss it, give it away, throw it away, donate it to the Salvation Army, whatever. That's just going to be taking up real estate in your house, and you're probably never going to sell it. Take it from a guy that has a bunch of stuff like this. Alright guys, so I have those Cuisinart and pasta parts soaking in hot soapy water. So I figured while that stuff is soaking, I should probably make good use of my time. So over the last month, I've picked up quite a bunch of media at tag sales and places like that. And there's a lot of it that's just in my way. And as you guys can see, because it's piled up everywhere and there's stuff on top of it, it's starting to get damaged. So that means I need to get this stuff listed so that, it's not going to get damaged any further. Because this is pretty high quality stuff too. So what I'm probably going to do is just take photos of the discs, make sure they're not cracked, make sure they're not too scratched up, and I'm going to try to get them all photographed today. What's happening, guys? Just taking a little coffee break right now. My buddy, the mailman Richard, just came by, and I heard him scanning packages, so I wanted to go out and say hi. So I went out there, and I had that Sony CD player radio in my hands that I picked up yesterday at the dump. That's the one that was selling for $25 plus shipping. And he saw it in my hands, and he said, "How much you want for that?" I said, "How about $15? And he said, "Sold," and gave me the $15. So that means I don't have to take any photographs. I don't have to list it. I don't have to pack it, ship it, get returns on it. To me, that's a thumbs up all day long. All right, I think I'm about halfway through the DVDs. All of the parts have been cleaned. Right now, they're just drying, and I plan to take some photographs here before dinner time. All right, it's about 2:30 p.m., and the daylight is swiftly burning. I'm out here because I want to try to photograph these items. All of them are cleaned up, as clean as they're going to get anyway. And I've got some stuff over here and here. And I have determined that it's probably going to be easier to sell those Sears food processor parts in one lot. It looks like a seller sold a similar lot back in August for $34 plus shipping. If you guys can tell, she actually has the stem with 2 adapter pieces. I actually have the stem and 3 adapter pieces. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and ask $39.95 plus shipping and go from there. Hey, what's happening, folks? It's the next day. It's actually Saturday morning. It's about 8:40 a.m. and I'm over here at Kev's tag sale. The reason that I got here early was because sometimes he actually opens up early. I got here at like 8:45 a few weeks ago, and when I went downstairs, there were a ton of people shopping. So I'm hoping we're going to get some things today and add them to the death pile. That's right, boys. Self-sabotage at its finest. I'm just messing around, guys, but seriously, you know me. It don't matter. If it's a good product, it's always got room in the death pile. I think Tom might actually show up here soon. He's always trying to get a good deal on like a BB gun or some hunting equipment or something. So wish me luck, guys. I saw the signs out on the road, so there's no reason that the sale shouldn't be happening today. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. We shall return shortly. Hey, what's happening, guys? I'm sitting over here at the light table, and it's about 9:30 p.m. I ended up doing okay at the tag sale today. Not great, but okay. I finally got home today at about 12 o'clock, and to be completely honest with you guys, by the time 12 o'clock came around, Big Josh was ready to go home. I think it would be fair to say that today was most definitely an interesting day. There were times today when the emotions were high and then low, high and then low again. Tom showed up at around 10 of 9, and then Kevin came out at about the same time, and he was just shooting the breeze with us. We were just doing some pick and talk. There's a fair amount of resellers in the area that actually go to this place, so whenever I get there, I try to be 100% focused on my craft. But I think it's safe to say that I was off my game today, and I think some of it has to do with I just didn't get much sleep last night. I kept waking up. I actually think my dad gave me his cold. But as soon as 9 o'clock hit, we all took off for the door. It's actually kind of crazy. Everybody will be having reseller conversations, and then when he says 9 o'clock, they all stop, and it's all business. So the first thing I did was I checked out Kevin's area. I found a stuffed animal in a box that was selling for about $15. It had one of those little hands that you squeeze, and it says something. But unfortunately, the battery was dead, so I decided just to leave it. Other than that, I didn't see anything that really piqued my interest on his side, so then I shot over to the other guy's side. A few years ago, they started coming out with remakes of like Genesis and Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and they come in a small box, and you can use like HDMI with them, and it's basically just a remake of the console. Well, as good fortune would have it, as I looked down, I saw one of those video game systems sitting right on the table, so I snatched it up. But sadly, with that Genesis, I wasn't able to get it because when he saw it, he said he wanted $40 for that. Now, they are selling for like $80 in new condition, and it looked like it may possibly have been new. It sounded to me as though he wanted to get as close to $40 as possible, so it just wasn't something that I felt comfortable dealing with. Although my good friend Jesse would probably have jumped on that. But then again, he's a big video game collector anyway. And then I walked around and found a few more items that I just went ahead and tossed in the bag. And this is when it started getting pretty interesting. I went over and I saw that he had all of these Franklin Mint Diecast cars. And I took one out of the box and I felt it, and this thing felt really nice, and it was heavy duty. And I know that Franklin Mint is a pretty good name in collectibles. There was actually like 6 of them there, and I think they may have been like different variations of Corvettes. I actually looked them up, and the numbers that I was seeing was like $30, $40. And so I asked the guy who they belonged to, and he was like, did you want to get them all, or did you want a few? And then he said, don't expect them to be $5. And I looked at him and said, what, $5.50? After he told me that I could expect them to be more than $5, I kind of lost interest, because I started to think that, if I'm going to be paying $10 or $15 for these and selling them for $20, $30, $40, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. So I just kind of lost interest in the idea and just walked away. And then I see my friend Tom over there looking at the cars. So I go over there to get his perspective on it. And I told him, I said, I don't think he's going to be giving these things away too cheap. And he was like, they're worth like $200 a piece. I'm like, what are you talking about, $200 a piece? And then he showed me a sold comp where they're all selling for like $150, $200, some for like $80 on the lower end. And I think he went ahead and asked the guy how much he wanted for all of them. And I believe he said he wanted like $160, and he told me that he might try to see if he can get them for like $120. Well, he actually ended up throwing $120 out, and they settled on $130. So that ended up being one hell of a score for our friend Tom. And to be honest, I couldn't have asked for it to happen to a better guy. Tom's always been super generous to me. He's always throwing me bone after bone. So for him to be able to come in like this and get a good deal like that, I'm happy for him. He was actually having a hard time looking up one of the cars tonight. He doesn't use Terapeak, so I went ahead and used mine and did a little research on it. And I sent him a screenshot where all 3 of those models were listed this past year, and they all sold for $160 to $170 plus shipping. So it's probably more of a rarer car. It doesn't get listed too often, so I think he's going to really do well on these. I actually did some math, and I figured that if they all sell for like $160 or $170, he should profit about $700 after fees. I didn't take in the shipping on that stuff, so you're probably looking at somewhere around $650. But I told him, I said, get that first one listed and sold. That way it'll pay for all of the other ones. So the last time I talked to him, he was actually dusting off the old photo table. And I'll definitely be happy to hear about the progress. But I actually ended up finding somewhat of a collectible score myself out there today. Next to those Franklin Mint cars, he had a ton of these models sitting over there. And they're all like car models, a lot of older ones, a lot of stuff. I looked most of them up on eBay, and there was really only a couple that I wanted. But when I asked him how much he wanted, it kind of got into a heated conversation. I like this guy that's over there. He's always got cool stuff, and he usually gives me a deal where I'm making money and everything. But sometimes he's just been a little bit ornery on the price, especially since I'm always out there, always buying stuff like every week that I can. So, I was asking him how much he wanted, and he was really I think he was really trying to get me to buy all of them. But I really just didn't want all of them because, the boxes are a bit rough. And I don't know, I just wanted a couple. But he was wanting like $10 or $15 a piece for them. And I ended up just telling him, I said, Mike, I said, this stuff, I looked it up, man. This stuff is in my pile because it's the only stuff that I want where I can make a little bit of money. I said, bro, I've been doing this stuff for years. I know what I'm talking about. I said, I don't think a lot of people are going to come after this stuff. It's not really expensive stuff. But we got into a little bit of dramatic back and forth about this, that, and the other. And I ended up just saying, how much do you want for these 2 models? And he wanted like $25 for 2 models. I'm like, no. And then I put one down, and then I just got the one model that I knew I wanted, and they said, how about $10? And I was like, all right. And then he walked over to me, and he said, listen, how about you just take them all? I was like, but Mike, I just don't want them all. He's like, just take them all for $60. And I was like, all right. So there was actually a total of 13 of them. Tom found one that he wanted, and I just gave it to him. It was cool. It was only like a $15 model, and I think it would look good in his little, man cave area. But then I also had some other things, and I asked him how much he wanted, and he was like, how about $15? I was like, I could give you 10. And he's like, I'll take it. So I ended up giving him $70 for all the stuff that I'm going to show. I even told him, I said, man, I like you a lot. I love buying stuff from you. You're a cool dude. But I got to get this stuff like on the cheap. But I'm still going to try to support him as best as I can. So for that $10, I actually got 5 items. 2 of the items were these Apple earbuds. They're still brand new in the package. I think they're like new old stock. I checked the comps on eBay, and these are kind of all over the place. It looks like they're selling for, I guess, between $10 and $15 free shipping. And that's kind of another thing. He was like looking at these. He was like, these got to be $10 a piece. Yeah, I was like, I'm not trying to pay $10 a piece for these, bro. See, a lot of these items that I find out there, I would consider them like dollar table items. If it's just like random stuff, like little remote controls or earbuds sitting on the table, I consider that to be like $1. But I'll pay like a couple, $2, $3 tops. If not, I just can't get it. But I also found this remote control, and I think it's for like a Sleep Number bed. And when I looked it up, it looked like it was selling for about $40 or $50 free shipping. I'm not sure how I'm going to test this, but it looked like it was, going for good money, so I had to get it. I also got this little cat collar. I've sold this item in the past. There were actually 2 boxes in one of the bins out there, and I thought they were going to be like full. Unfortunately, one of the boxes only had like clips or something in it, and then the other box had just the one of these in there. Now, these typically sell for about $30 a box. They come with 3 packets, so I'm thinking I could sell this for between $10 and $12 free shipping. There was also this little doohickey right there. It is a T-Mobile personal cell spot, and it looks like this is a 4G signal booster. I don't know if it works or not. I'm going to have to plug it in and see. I'm probably going to end up just throwing this up on eBay for parts or repair, and I'll probably charge between $15 and $20 plus shipping. So that was it on those smaller items that I paid $10 for, and retrospectively, I think it really wasn't that bad of a purchase for $10, those items. So let's move on to the goodness. So this is the first model. It's a '65 Corvette Coupe. I think with most of these boxes right here, they are opened, but all of the pieces still appear to be connected to the plastic parts. They are dusty, and I'm going to sell them as used. But it looks like I might be able to sell this one for between $20 and $30 plus shipping. This is a 1959 Cadillac Convertible. As you guys can see, all of the parts are still in the bag. And when I checked the sold comps on that one, it looks like I could probably get between $30 and $35 plus shipping. And then we got this Pontiac Trans Am. You got the same situation here. Everything's, nice and neat in the bag. So this is probably going to be able to be sold as brand new. But I might just sell it as pre-owned just because, I would feel more comfortable that way. There's also this really cool vintage airplane. I believe it's from 1958. It's made by a company called Hawk Models. And this is the T-33. And it looks like this also has the parts. And I don't know, maybe it looks like somebody might have actually tried to put this together or something. I don't know. But I think somebody will probably buy it. Yeah, this definitely looks used. I saw that another seller had sold one for around $22 plus shipping, but I'm going to sell mine as replacement parts and see if I can't get like 15 to 20, and hopefully somebody will need it. There's also this model as well. It's a Nissan 300ZX. It's made by a company called Tamiya, I think. Maybe that's all wrong and I'm butchering it. Let me know in the comment section. I really don't know what to make of this model right here. I mean, as I look at it, it looks like everything's still, in its original package. Hey, look, somebody has their black book in the model. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Look at all this stuff, guys. There's all kinds of stuff here, like notepads and everything. I'm out of curiosity going to have to take a look at this stuff. But, you know, this has, like, the manual with writing on it. But look at all this stuff. This stuff's all, like, in the original packaging. So it is pre-owned, but it's on the higher end of pre-owned. I saw that one had sold on eBay for about $30 plus shipping, and with those items all being into plastic, I'm not scared to ask $30 plus shipping either. There was also this 59 Chevy Impala Convertible. It's made by Monogram. It looks like this one is new. It has the instructions. Everything appears to be sealed in the factory wrap. So this will probably do okay. So it looks like wrapped in the original plastic like that. I should be able to sell that for about $35 to $40 plus shipping. This is kind of a cool looking one. It's definitely older. This is a Chrysler Corporation Turbine car. And I'm not sure what year this is, but it looks pretty neat. Yeah, this one looks pretty good too. It looks like something in this condition with, you know, everything being wrapped in the plastic. It could sell for between $40 and $50 plus shipping. There was also this Buick Rietta. It's a made in the USA model, but I don't know who makes it. I didn't see any that had actually sold, but there were a few people selling for around $25. It's probably not worth that much, so I'll probably end up asking $15 plus shipping and seeing what happens. There was also this Monogram 56 Chevy. I believe this one has actually been opened, so this will probably be sold for parts. It looks like some people were selling them for between $30 and $35. I'll just ask maybe $25, and I'm sure somebody will buy it. We got another model here. This is a Deville, a 1991 Pontiac Gtp Coupe. I believe this one is new. It looks like, you know, the tires are still attached. I believe it's still in its original packaging, so this should do well. On that one, it looked like they were going for about $25 plus shipping. This one is a 1992 Thunderbird Sc Coupe, and it's still sealed in its original plastic, and it looked like these are selling for about $30 plus shipping. This is probably going to be the best one out of all of them. It's a 1968 Cadillac Bossman Deville. You know, it's got the original paperwork, and there's definitely some issues here. Like, actually, this is broken. But it looks like all the parts are there, and I have no doubt that this has some value. When I looked it up, it looked like they were going for between $80 and $100 plus shipping. Since there is some damage, I likely won't get the higher end of that, but I'm hoping I might be able to get between $50 and $75. I also got these vintage tournament chess pieces. There's nothing really special here. They're made by a company called ES Low, and I don't know how much they sell for, but I'm going to try to get something for them. So before I left, I shot back over to Kev's side. I just wanted to see what he had again one more time. And I noticed he had these, I thought they were books. You know, I looked at them, I'm like, this is kind of cool. What is this? And the reason I was interested was because it was just kind of like a similar set. I'm like, I wonder if all of these have value together. So I ended up looking them up, and it looks like sets of 50 or 60 are selling for like $100, $110 plus shipping. I think this only has like 37 books. I also saw listings that were selling, you know, individual composers. And since they're not books, but rather CDs, I'm just going to go through the discs and make sure they're in good shape. I bet you there's some pretty good money in this. I said, hey, Kevin, how much you want for these? And he said, just whatever you feel like paying. So I ended up getting all of those CDs for $5. But if I end up making some decent money on them, like $100, I'll probably throw Kevin $10. So that's all that I found over there. After that, Tom and I shot over to his local dump. It was a lot earlier than I like to go because it was like 10:30, and a lot of times the good stuff doesn't really start showing up till about noon. But he had some things he had to do today, so it was just the only opportunity we had. And unfortunately, it was a complete dud. I didn't get anything at all. Tom did get a sled, which he left in my truck, so I got to bring that back to him next time I see him. So I ended up just taking him home, and then I shot over to my local dump, and I ended up not having such a great time over at the local dump. There were some situations going on at the dump today that made me feel very uncomfortable. There were some things that I saw that I wasn't too happy about. I don't want to talk too much about it because I really, I don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything. But I did end up finding a few items out there. The first thing I saw was this Lux Pro Thermostat. It is pre-owned and hopefully it works. It sells for about $16 free shipping. I also found this little bag out there. It's made by a company called Subtle, and they are line conditioners. They're some type of, I don't know, maybe for phone service or something. They're still sealed. When I was looking up the comps, it looked like I might be able to sell this for between $15 and $20. There's also this Leviton scene selector. I don't think this is going to sell for much, maybe like $7 or $8. And this is a Leviton dimmer. And it looks like this one's selling for about $10 free shipping. And the last item I found up there today was this water pitcher. It's made by a company called Hamilton Scotch, I think. And it looked like similar ones were selling for around $25 plus shipping. I mean, it's in decent shape. It's got, some dents, but I think it might do okay. So that's basically everything that I found today. I didn't see any garage sales anywhere. And I think they're about wrapped up for the season. I'll probably just do the thrifting once a week, probably hit the dump 3 times, and shoot over to Vermont and Tom's dump on Saturdays. I just want to keep the stuff from piling up too much until, I get caught up and sell some more of these items. But anyway, my friends, I think I'm going to get out of here. I'm probably going to be pretty busy tomorrow. I got a bunch of stuff that I took photos of, so tomorrow I'll probably start listing a lot of those items. Anyway, guys, if you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I noticed that there has been an influx of subscribers, so I'm not sure who shouted me out, but whoever did that, I really appreciate it. And to you new subscribers, welcome to the channel. On the channel, I pretty much just try to document my life as a reseller, and I just try to give tips when I can. I try to show things that I buy. I haven't been doing a whole lot of what's sold videos, just because I've just had a lot of stuff going on, but I'm sure at some point I'll probably return to that. Anyway, guys, you have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Check this out, guys. I was getting ready to throw this manual away, but I said, you know what, just for S&G, which is you know what in giggles, I said, let me see if this thing has any value. So I looked over here on the sold comps, and somebody bought this exact manual back on August 21st for $11.95. Now you might be wondering, now Josh, would you have spent $11.95 on a food processor manual? And I would have to say, probably not. There was also this little cat collar. It's not a cat collar. It's a cat collar. The one you wear around your neck if you were a feline.